Morrowind and Daggerfall are peak Elder Scrolls. Not trying them is a horrendous mistake. If you didn't play Morrowind, you know nothing about Elder Scrolls. Missing out on Morrowind, it's the GOAT. Man, you really have to play Morrowind. You really need to play Morrowind. Never played Morrowind? You really should play Morrowind. Shame you haven't tried Morrowind. Why not play Oblivion or Morrowind if you like Skyrim so much? Bro, you gotta give Morrowind a try. Please play Morrowind. I highly recommend you play Morrowind. Morrowind is the best game in the series, and it's not close.
All right!
I give up, man. Okay, I give up. This game launched when my mother launched me out of her womb. It is literally before my time, but obviously you guys are rabid to get me to play it, so here we go. Welcome to Morrowind, baby. I paid 8 real Monopoly dollars for this game, and my philosophy is that I need to play 2 hours for every dollar I spend on a game. So this video, at minimum, will include my first 16 hours of struggle, pain, and smooth Skyrim brain.
What just happened? Why did I struggle against a mud crab?
As I attempt to learn a video game not designed for the brain rot era. Online, it says roughly 50 hours are needed just to beat the main story for this game, so I'm assuming even with 16 hours and learning the game from the ground up, I won't even be done 20%. I also don't really believe in Let's Plays. Most of my videos are retrospective analysis with quite a bit of editing, so I'm going to be keeping with that theme. For you Morrowind veterans out there watching this video, I am not one of you. I have never played this game before.
Oh my god!
I spent the first 2 hours just tweaking my settings and keybinds so I could keep my hair for a couple more years. That being said, I am using the OpenMW launcher and no additional mods. It is my understanding OpenMW turns Morrowind from a hot pile of bugs and crashes to a functional piece of software on devices created after the 2008 recession. I want to remain faithful to the vanilla experience, but I also want the game to run. With all that out of the way, let's dive into my first experience of the Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind. Wake up. I wake up to the crisp sound of this well-dressed gentleman, Jub, speaking to me and begin the process of creating my character.
I gotta pick something better than Jub. Whatever that guy's name is. John Fortnite.
I begin to bask in the glory of this game's facial models, which I can only imagine are better in OpenMW and how rough they must look in the default version of Morrowind.
Oh my god. Bro, I don't know how I feel about this. Something doesn't look quite right about some of these. Alright, we're going for full Velociraptor here. I read a little bit about my character's racial bonuses and decide to hard RP as an Argonian fisherman who uses spears to hunt his enemies and occasionally fish. To top off this horrible choice of build, I decide to select the Acrobat class, which surely can't be optimal. I think I'm going to go the Acrobat. Like, I don't really like the stealth, I don't really play stealthy, but this seems really bad. Jonathan Fortnite is ready for action and ready to start his adventure in Morrowind. The first challenge was unlocking this door, which for some reason required a piece of jewelry that made a hilarious sound effect from those old sci-fi shows my parents watch. Whoa! What is that sound effect? What the hell was that? Oh my god.
I talked to this captain guy who's my primary introduction to this game's worst feature, reading. Most of my literary consumption has AI voiceovers and Subway Surfers underneath, so this was gonna be brutal. Anyway, he tells me I was freed personally by the Emperor, but the reasonings behind it are a mystery to him. The captain gives me a package to deliver to my sponsor and starts me on my very first quest. Let me take a second here to say, as much as I joke, I do actually really love the Elder Scrolls universe and its lore. I never spam through dialogue, and I usually try to learn as much as possible from each NPC encounter. Admittedly, yeah, it does suck that there's no voice acting and I have to read everything myself, but if you've seen my previous videos, you know I pay attention and you know I like to take my time. Now that being said, not having quest markers on the map was a bit of a shock, to say the least.
Okay, so let's check the map. Oh my god, there's no pins, bro. Uh-oh.
I do have a bone to pick with that system, and yes, I'm a Skyrim smooth brain, but the movement system in this game is atrocious, at least at the start.
Oh my god, it's so slow.
My grandma is in a wheelchair, and she rolls faster than this.
Look at these animations, baby.
Anyway, not having quest markers did lead to a bit of confusion from me, which I will admit, and I had to take a second to figure out what was going on.
From what I can decipher, when it said I was on my own, it wasn't kidding. And people keep like sniffing me. They keep going, and they're really rude.
Outlander.
Sniff, bro. People keep smelling me or something.
I decided to purchase my coveted spear from the vendor, along with some light armor, which I quickly figured out I couldn't completely wear.
I got my shoes. I can't. Beast races cannot wear boots. Great. Great. I'm glad I bought that, man. That was great.
In this game, Argonians are classified as beasts, so they can't wear boots or helmets. But I was still dripped out.
Yeah, look at me go.
Spit it out or hit the road.
Man, why is everyone so mean to me?
And I decided to test out my new attire against some of the crabs, only to discover the delightful combat this game has to offer. Turns out, Morrowind has RNG combat. I could physically jab my spear into this mud crab's skull, and somehow it would still miss.
So it's RNG. It's not you're not guaranteed a hit. What the f are these guys?
I decided to experiment on some of the local wildlife, and I came across a dead guy with a boatload of money.
Oh, he's got some money. Give me that.
Quickly scooped that up and headed back on the main street where a screaming man fell from the sky.
What the f just happened? Okay. Whoa! Wait, that's crazy. And then I jump. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I died.
Luckily, I quick-saved before trying out his funky spells, but I had some fun jumping across the map for a while before completing another quest to clear out this bandit camp. Although, I guess I really shouldn't be saying quests. They're just kind of rumors about an activity to do in an area. I don't think they specifically reward the player with any XP or loot for clearing it out.
No
Bro.
escape. Surrender your life.
Let me hit him.
I will end your pain.
Anyway, after freeing some of the slaves that were rude to me for no reason...
How are you?
Speak now or leave now.
Really? So that's the thanks I get here.
I headed to the Silt Strider to fast travel over to Balmora, the first major city Morrowind has to offer. I quickly discovered the fastest way to learn about a town and its layout is to run around in it until the fog of war is cleared. From there, I'm able to locate the exact buildings I need to go and locate the sponsor the captain and Seyda Neen wanted me to deliver the package to. I walk up to this finely dressed gentleman who says he belongs to the Blades, a secret service of the Emperor, and enlists me into his service. His next instructions are pretty ambiguous. Basically, join a guild and earn enough reputation before we can proceed. It's an interesting way to segue into the guild content of an Elder Scrolls game. Usually that stuff is up to you to discover on your own, so it was cool to see it integrated so heavily into the beginning of the story. Anyway, I checked out a few of the recruiters to see what they offered. The Imperial Guild wanted me to pay them $50, so I said hell no and skedaddled on over to the Fighters Guild. First quest was to kill a couple rats for this old woman, and I could barely kill one of them before I had to rest. And when I tried to do that, I literally got jump scared by this dude trying to kill me.
Whoa! What the hell? What was that? Why did that guy do that?
And spoiler alert, this is not the last time this happens. I had no idea who this guy was or why he was trying to kill me, but it was starting to get annoying because he was so much more powerful than me. I killed the rats and had to go into a Quama mine to kill some poachers and engage more with this amazing combat system. Now on the plus side, I am beginning to learn a bit more about how this combat system works and how to increase my odds of landing attacks. And I learned with a spear, thrusting is how I should be attacking rather than just button mashing. But at this specific point in the playthrough, I really hated the RNG and I would avoid all combat encounters if possible. As if the tribunal themselves heard my cries, they decided to send me an insane loot delivery right to my doorstep. Another one of these stupid assassins tried to kill me in my sleep, again, but this time he clipped into the wall.
No! He's in the walls, bro.
When I wake up from my nap, he plops down dead on the floor in front of me, flush with loot.
Oh,
This guy just died.
oh my god, he had some good gear. What the hell?
I learned this guy is from the Dark Brotherhood. At least that's the style of his armor. And oh boy, is his armor good. It's roughly 4 times as good as the armor I'm currently wearing and worth a small fortune. There was this mysterious dart I was able to sell worth 2,000 gold.
2,000! A carved ebony dart. Well, I'm gonna take that and sell it.
Anyway, my luck had turned around. Flush with over 3,000 gold and juice to my gills, I was now able to take down most encounters without much of a sweat. Sure, my attacks were still missing, but my armor was strong enough that I wasn't getting one shot. It was after doing several more Fighters Guild quests that I realized progression in the faction isn't tied to your reputation, it's tied to your current attributes. To get the second rank of the Fighters Guild and progress the main story, I needed 30 strength and endurance and one of the following skills at level 10. From my very limited knowledge of this game, it seemed counterproductive to advance in most of these skills the Fighters Guild wanted due to me just wanting to use my pointy caveman stick. The Armorer skill, however, wasn't terribly inefficient to level up, as the ability to repair my gear and weapons on the go seemed handy to have. Took me a while to figure out how to use the hammers, but I did figure it out eventually.
I definitely did not have that many hammers, I don't think, but, okay.
Now that I had those 3 skills at the necessary level, I went to the Fighters Guild to get promoted and continue the main quest.
Woohoo! John Fordyce, the apprentice.
My sponsor, Kaya, says that there's a guy in the Fighters Guild who knows a lot about the 6th house in the Gnaar Mok and will tell me about it if I get him some stupid Rubik's Cube from a Dwemer ruin. I don't even want to tell you how long it took me to find the lever to find my way inside of this dungeon. I'm not even going to tell you that. But I will tell you it took me over an hour to finally locate the cube. There's no quest markers. So once I found my way inside, I had to look in every single nook and cranny in the entire dungeon.
Oh my god, there it is. Finally, bro. I got the puzzle box. I can get out of here. Holy moly.
Anyway, I got the stupid cube, and he tells me about the information I need to know. The 6th house is House Dagoth, and back in the First Age, House Dagoth betrayed the other houses and got banished to the Shadow Realm or something. I'm not new to the Elder Scrolls as a whole. I've seen the memes.
Take those clown feet of yours and lumber on out of here.
But besides his name being Dagoth, I don't really know anything about him, but I'm sure I will before this game's over. Anyway, I have another 4 people to talk to, so I gather as much information as I can about the 6th house and the Gnaar Mok. A woman from the Mages Guild who's definitely not a necromancer, an Argonian who's being bullied by racist dark elves, a librarian who's being watched by ordinators, and a Khajiit smuggling in the sewers of Vivec City. All these informants have little bits and bobs of information, but figuring out where they were and what to do next ran me over 2 hours of gameplay easily. I know I've said it a lot, but this is where I really missed having quest markers. Some of the quests I was given did not have direction or context. The Khajiit wanted me to get rid of a bad agent, with no direction on where they were or what they look like. I spoke to like 30 people before I found out some hints on who this guy might be. I think I stopped recording at this point because I was starting to get frustrated, so please excuse the lack of footage in this portion. Until this point, and we're about 8 hours in, I wasn't using any guides or online resources. I was trying to experience this game raw, but this fetch quest, going around talking to people about the same stuff for over 2 hours, broke me, and I decided to look up the locations of the NPCs rather than wander mindlessly around. Again, I had no problems before this, but this quest specifically was extraordinarily dull and not fun for me at all. It was just hours of interacting with dozens and dozens of NPCs and reading walls of text. I had to step away from Morrowind for a while. After a couple days away from the game, I decided to come back and give Morrowind another shot. I'd been literally dreaming about it while I slept at night. Either that was the addiction settling in, or my sanity was slowly unraveling. But then, the most beautiful thing happened. It just clicked. I started playing for fun on my lunch breaks when I got home. I was squeaking in time for Morrowind any chance I had. I completely disregarded the main quest and just wandered around looking for fun stuff I wanted to do for hours. By the time I was ready to continue the main story, I had easily played 6 hours of just goofing around and having fun. I got as far as I could in the Fighters Guild, fully completing all orders and ranking up to a journeyman after assassinating what I would consider just to be civilians. I completed every single mine, cavern, or point of interest to Balmora's south, after which I decided to go back to Vivec, the city of my previous torment. It's quite a large city, and a lot of the houses are NPCs that basically don't do anything. There were some cool little quests here and there, but one guy I spoke to in a haunted house gave me a sick weapon. He said something like, "Oh, you found me again," and had some information about the Fighters Guild contracts, so I assume he's from Balmora or associated with the Fighters Guild, but I definitely do not remember him. After Vivec, I went north to Caldera to continue my rampage with my new weapon. Helped a naked guy get his sword back, an orc deliver some letters, and refused to help someone with speedy boots because my stupid lizard feet won't even fit them anyway. I also ranked up with House Halalu and made some serious coinage.
I don't remember who this guy murderer is. They just said, I've killed lots of people at this point, so not quite sure who that is. They just gave me 1,000 gold though. Blew it all right away on some training for sneak and unarmored to level myself up to 14. This character overview screen is what Jonathan looked like after about 12 hours of gameplay. Far from optimal, I'm sure, but he's coming along. I went to speak with my shirtless employer,
What was that?
who told me to meet with some Ashlanders far in the north of Vardenfell. This trek took me 30 minutes, easily. I was just walking and walking and walking. The problem is, I wasn't given any directions on how to get there, and I made the mistake of trying to raw dog my travel without speaking to a scout, so I had no idea where I was or what I was looking for. Luckily, this camp was near the north coast, which is what I was just running along, and I found it. I had to bribe an old lady to let me talk to some people, challenge a warrior to a fight that he instantly backed out of, and find this dude's dead father's bow.
I think I got the stupid bow. Isn't this it? Bone biter bow? Yeah, bone biter bow.
After proving myself to the tribe and passing my initiation rites, the old lady I gave a small fortune to earlier said I needed to get some books from a temple. Oh, god damn it. This took me so long to figure out. What temple, man? It doesn't say. It's the... Basically, the temple is not a temple. Rather, a religion of some sort practice here. What I needed to look for was the dissident priests, but I also had no idea how to find these guys. There was a librarian way back at the start of the story that mentioned them, but didn't give an exact location. I had to talk to a bunch of NPCs in different locations to try and get some direction. I finally got the name, Holamayan, but that was kind of worthless to me as I had no idea where that was on the map. I was at my wit's end, and at this point, I discovered the glorious interactive map online. And I know I said I'm doing this without guides or assistance, but fuck you, I'm using this map on my second monitor. It's so useful.
Okay, I believe we found the temple after walking for like 30 minutes.
I finally got to this abomination of a temple, and I couldn't get inside.
Oh, please tell me I'm on the wrong side. Why would it even have a path? The back door if you can't get in from the back door. How do I get in here? Oh.
I ran around the island looking for hidden levers or secret entrance like there was with that original Dwemer ruin to no avail. After about 15 minutes of running around, I checked back at the front and the door was just open.
Why is this open all of a sudden? I have been running around this cave or this island. It's just open. I must have done something. I must have pulled a lever or something. I don't know why it's open now, but whatever.
I guess I must have done something to open it. I don't know what, but at that point, I really could not care less. I go inside, I find the person who's supposed to give me the books, and begin my long trek back to the Ashlander camp.
Did I come all the way out here just to fetch quest this? Get them and tell her what I find. Oh.
Upon getting there, I'm greeted with the classic Morrowind NPC interaction.
What the hell are you talking about? How'd I betray the clan? Welcome, favored guest. My yurt and hearth are yours, okay? Getting some mixed messages from this guy.
But perhaps what's more worrying is as I get back to the old lady's tent, she won't let me progress the quest. Perhaps the lost prophecies can be found there. Has asked me to go to the priest, get them, and show me the books, and tell her what I find there. I did do this. I did this. I have the right books. I checked online, but she won't let me progress. I fumbled around with this for a little bit. I waited multiple days in game time, checked online, reloaded older saves. I couldn't figure out how to bypass it, so I just gave up. Hopefully, that was the end of that mission and not important. But if it was, you might have to tell me in the comments because I'm gonna have to figure that out. After I gave up, I decided to return to my shirtless friend to see if he had any new work for me. A priest that worships Dagoth went sicko mode and murdered an entire squad of Imperial soldiers. One Imperial was allowed to return and spread the story, but was infected with something called the Corpus disease. Anyway, the priest kept chanting that the 6th house has risen and Dagoth is love, Dagoth is life, and we need to kill the priest before he goes on another rampage. I try to rest up before my big adventure, and am interrupted twice. Once by a dream, and the other by another Dark Brotherhood assassin, which did infuse me with a little bit more gold. I begin my travels to Gnaar Mok, and I have no idea how to say this because there's no voice acting, so I don't know if it's Gnaar Mok or just Gnaar Mok. But I go there to kill this priest, and the town unfortunately didn't seem to have any fast travel options, so I had to walk there. Okay, I think we're finally here. Swimming across a billion rivers. We are in Gnaar Mok. On arrival, a guard informed me I somehow violated the law and owed a whopping 9 gold in fines. But after paying them, I was able to find the location of this crazy priest's hideout. This area was so unbelievably dark.
Oh, it's dark as hell.
And I have the Night Eye spell, which I bought for this exact reason, but I unfortunately fail to cast it all the time. Torches also basically do jack shit too, as they only light up your immediate area. This does nothing! This literally doesn't light up anything. The complex was massive, dark as hell, and took me a while to explore. Didn't help that I got one shot by this one enemy and had to restart at the beginning. You really have to quick save a lot. Like, I know I should be quick saving basically any time I open a door, but it's when it slips your mind and you're in a dungeon or a big instance and forget to save, that makes me want to pull my hair out when I die and lose that much time. In this first episode, I probably lost 2 hours of time just being set back to an old save. Luckily, I did save right at the start of this dungeon, so it wasn't too bad, but I still had to go all the way through it again. Anyway, after wandering blindly through this maze of a cave, I finally found the ritual room or whatever where this priest was chilling. Keep in mind, I could not see him at this point and was fighting his slaves, but this dialogue box popped up in the middle of combat and I clicked off it instinctively. There was probably some interesting stuff in there to read, but once I closed the box, he just sprinted at me full tilt and started beating my cheeks, so I had to fight back. As I fell the priest, he collapses and drops a curse on me, infecting me with the Corpus disease. He had a cool necklace and a letter from Dagoth to me, I assume, telling me to venture to the Red Mountain. I play with his bells a bit, then head back to Balmora and report into Caius. I love, by the way, how I can just say head back to Balmora and in 4 words wipe away like 20 minutes of walking. God, that's really what I've taken away from this game the most. Of the 16 hours I've played, at least 4 was just walking from place to place, another 4 trying to locate things, 2 hours of reading walls of text, and the rest was probably gameplay. And yes, this was the end of my first 16 hours. I think the only other thing I did was return to Caius, who told me some wizard can heal my Corpus disease. I'm not sure how long this video's runtime will be, but if I somehow recapped 16 hours in less than 30 minutes, that would be a win for me. While I wrap this episode up to a close, I want to give my first impressions of Morrowind to see how they change from video to video. As I said at the start of this episode, I'd like to probably do a 3-part series for this entire game, but I'd only do that if you guys are interested. Average likes on my videos are a little over 2,000, but let's aim a little below and say if we hit 1,500 likes, that would be enough for me to infer a decent chunk of people were interested in part 2. Anyway, my impression right now is that Morrowind is not as relaxing as I hoped it would be. It's an investment. When I open up this game, I know I can't have music playing in the background, I can't be watching YouTube or whatever. My focus needs to be on Morrowind so I don't miss any details or clues during questing. Granted, this feeling is only present with questing. I had a great time turning my brain off running around Balmora, Vivec, and Caldera, clearing out as many random dungeons and outposts as I could. But anytime questing is involved, I need to lock the fuck in. I actually like this required attention to detail for the main story. It forces me to pay attention and learn as much as I can, but I don't exactly think it's necessary for every side quest in the game. There's a couple times where quest givers would just point out the location on my map.
Oh, he marked it on my map. Thank you.
But it wasn't frequent enough for small quests. You could help someone who's like, help, bandits have invaded my campsite. And when you ask them where it is, they're just like, I don't know, it's somewhere northeast of here. Really? You don't know the location of where you were camping? I don't know. I wasted a lot of time looking for things that I probably shouldn't have. I did learn that when Morrowind released back in the day, it actually came with a physical map, like on paper. That actually sounds like a really useful tool, which is why I'm now allowing myself to use the online map. If you guys had a physical map back in the day, that should be included with the original experience I'm trying to emulate. I think that's lore friendly. Overall, Morrowind is starting to grow on me. When I started, like the first 6 hours of gameplay, I probably would have given it like 3 out of 10. But now, it's much closer to 6 out of 10 for me. Again, I don't even think I've done 20% of the game, but if you guys want to watch me continue, make sure to drop a like or let me know in the comments down below. Don't feel afraid to give me tips, by the way. Please, for the love of God, I need them so bad, I have no idea what I'm doing. Thank you to my members, and thank you for everyone who stuck around this far in the video to watch. If you have any feedback for these videos, I'm all ears. About halfway through writing this script, I wasn't sure if I should be recapping the main story. You guys have probably all played this game over and over again, and for those who haven't, I don't think I'm going into enough detail for you to follow along. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way, this is all very new to me, so I'd really appreciate your feedback, whether you're a vet or you've also never played Morrowind. Regardless, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.